In this video, we're going to be looking at what we hear quite often from landlords. I don't need training. And it's that belief that's leaving landlords behind. Your tenant is getting educated by AI, by with no fee solicitors, by enforcement teams. Right. So that is the problem, right, with having that attitude. I don't need training. Why would I even be trained for? It's a fair question on the surface. You're not planning to become a housing inspector. So why would you need formal training just to be a landlord? Here's why. There are far more ways to get fined than most landlords realize. And it's not just hazards. Discrimination, how you select or treat tenants can result in fines. Incorrect handling deposits, incorrect notices, incorrect record keeping. All of it carries fines and penalties, separate from anything else to do with your physical property. And here's something bigger happening right now. The government has handed local authorities over 13 different distinct new enforcement powers. And at the same time, they have handed tenants over 13 new rights of their own. So tenants are using AI and they're having everything else right that is available to them to understand exactly what those rights mean and exactly how to act on them. They are getting more educated faster than more landlords are realizing. Right? The only ones that are going to be left behind in this shift are the landlords who assume none of this applies to them. Tenants are becoming aware now that they can claim back up to 24 months rent repayment order. So let's look at the consequences of not getting trained. Now, something we hear quite often. I've got an agent. I've got a company managing it. They take care of everything. We've already shown you why that's the biggest mistake in other videos landlords make. You cannot transfer your legal responsibility to them. Not to an agent, not to rent company, not to anyone. If you don't understand what compliance actually involves, how would you ever know whether these people you've handed your property over to are actually doing their job properly? You wouldn't. You simply just trust in them. And trust is not a legal defense. So that's why not being trained what really means you're putting your property, your income, your investment, your fate entirely in someone else's hands. Right. And when they fall short, and companies do fall short, and we see this all the time, we see agencies closing down. You're the one left in holding to it. Not their investment, it's yours. It's not their property, it's yours. Only you are left to answer for it. Then who will be at fault? Because you've been ignorant, you didn't get yourself trained. You've only got yourself to blame. So let's just quickly recap. Here's what most landlords don't realize about training. It doesn't just fill a knowledge gap. It changes how you're viewed. A trained landlord is immediately recognized to an enforcement officer as someone who is engaged and proactive, not someone that is ignoring their responsibilities. That takes you out of the rogue landlord category the moment it's clear that you made an effort. In practice, that can be the difference between the local authority reaching straight for fine, but because it says on the government's website, but for first time and minor offences. So you could be fined for first time and minor offences, which means small offences. And that could mean, so instead of them giving you a fine, they give you an improvement notice instead, well, and the chance to put things right. Same hazard, same property, different outcome, based on whether you can show that you've taken this seriously, right? And training isn't just protection. In many cases, it's a legitimate tax deductible business cost and an investment in the property you already own, not an added expense on top of it. So what action do you need to take? So before we consider what action you need to take, let's just quickly recap. I don't need training is one of the most costly things a landlord can believe. Not because the training itself changes the property, but because it changes how seriously you've taken the moment something is found. So book yourself on a free 30-minute chat with us. No cost, no pressure. We'll show exactly what training actually covers and why it matters more than ever. And get yourself trained. Right, so click on the training, like the train to get yourself booked on training as well, while it is at those prices. Book yourself a category 1, category 2 risk assessment, right? Because that is necessary if you haven't got it done already. Become a free Angel Moves member. That doesn't cost you anything. Stop putting yourself and your fate in someone else's hands. Put it back in your own.